Weeds are some of the worst enemies that gardeners must endure. Chris Mullins with Virginia Cooperative Extension visits the Fauquier Education Farm this week to learn how to better control these pesky plants and play with fire from the ground up.
Well, hello and welcome. Today we're at Fauquier Education Farm. We're here with Mr. Jim Hankins, the executive director of the farm here. Jim, everything looks great. I see eggplants and tomatoes and peppers all growing without weeds. Tell me what you're doing to keep that from happening.
This black plastic fabric, we call it landscape fabric, is one of the most valuable tools we have on the farm. It will conserve moisture. You know, you're not losing the moisture in your garden.
Right.
It reduces your weeding by at least 90%.
Oh, wow.
So many folks, it's great fun to put out a garden and you go back in a couple months and it's an Easter egg hunt to try to find anything.
Yeah.
So by keeping the ground covered, it doesn't allow the weeds to come up. And this stuff is reusable. I've got pieces over here that's been in continuous use since 2014, and it's still got several more years of use to go.
Makes sense. It's tough stuff. How do you put it down? Do you just lay it on the ground?
You don't need any special equipment at all.
Okay.
You roll it out on the ground. We hold it down with these metal staples,
Okay.
called sod staples, and that does it.
Wow. Just keeps it down, and then like you said, you take it up every year.
I take it up and move it around each year.
Okay.
You know, you want to do it over prepared soil. You don't want, you know, if you leave it down at the same place, perennial weeds will get established in the same holes.
Well, Jim, this is tough material. How do you plant in there? Do you cut a hole, or what do you do?
If you cut a hole in this cloth, what will happen is it will unravel. I have found the easiest way is just to use a propane torch, burn a small hole. You want to keep that hole small. You make a big hole, it's an invitation for a weed to come up. This is so easy, you know, a propane torch with a flexible hose. You know, the ones where you screw it right on top, you turn that upside down to burn the hole and it'll go out. So this flexible hose helps.
Okay. So you really need to make sure that that goes out completely once you burn that.
You do have to pay attention. This stuff is pretty flammable. If you've got weeds or something underneath that catch fire, you can ruin it.
I can see, and but it makes a perfect planting hole.
Yes.
So how do you plant in this now? You've got a unique technique for that.
This year is the first year that we've started doing this. I've noticed that my thick tomato stakes are basically the same size as my plug trays. So it's really as simple as using T-post driver, tap it in twice, move on down, and then these little cantaloupe, it's a perfect fit. It just drops right down into that hole and you're ready to go.
Jim, we've been looking at the ground cover that's in smaller pieces. This is a large piece. Why are you putting this over here?
This is a 12-foot piece, or a 12-foot wide piece of plastic that, you know, for the vining crops, these are cantaloupe right here, watermelon, winter squash, things that are going to spread out, cucumbers.
Right.
They work so beautifully here. You know, I've got this large expanse where the vines can spread out without weed pressure.
Yeah.
And the fruit stays clean. It breaks your heart when you pull up a cantaloupe and the bottom of it has rotted. You know, it happens far, far less on this woven landscape fabric.
Makes sense, and I love the no weeds part.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jim, for showing us around the farm today. I really appreciate that.
Always a pleasure.
Well, for more information about ground covers, please contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins, and we'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.